Chosen one, listen carefully. You are here for a reason. This is not a coincidence. God has led you to this moment because He wants to speak directly to your heart. You have been carrying so much, holding on to burdens that were never meant for you. Worry, stress, and fear have been weighing you down, but today is the day you let them go. What if I told you that your biggest breakthrough comes the moment you stop trying to control everything? What if the peace you've been searching for is already available, but it's been waiting for you to surrender? You see, when you try to control everything, you are putting yourself in a position that only God is meant to have. But when you release your worries into His hands, something incredible happens. He takes over. God never intended for you to walk this journey alone. He never asked you to carry every problem on your shoulders. Instead, He invites you to place everything in His hands. The struggles, the doubts, the unknowns. He is more than able to handle them. But here's the truth. You must choose to trust Him. Faith is not just believing in God. It is fully surrendering to His plan, even when you don't understand it. If you are watching this right now, it means God is calling you to trust Him completely. It's time to let go of fear. It's time to stop doubting His plan. The enemy wants you to believe that you have to figure everything out on your own. But God is saying, I've got you. Give it to me. Are you ready to trust Him? Are you ready to step into a life of peace, knowing that the Creator of the universe is in control? If your answer is yes, take a moment to activate your faith. Hit the like button as a declaration that you are placing everything in God's hands. Subscribe to keep receiving messages of faith and encouragement. And if you believe in the power of God's divine plan, comment Amen below. This small action is a symbol of your trust, an affirmation that you are ready to surrender and allow God to move in your life. Worry is a thief. It sneaks into your heart, drains your joy, and leaves you feeling restless. The more you try to control things, the more exhausted you become. But have you ever noticed that no matter how much you worry, it never changes anything? In fact, it only makes things worse. Worry keeps you trapped in a cycle of fear, making you feel like you are always one step away from disaster. God never created you to live like this. He never wanted your mind to be filled with fear about tomorrow. When you worry, you are holding onto a burden that was never meant for you. The enemy wants you to believe that you must solve everything on your own. He whispers lies that make you doubt God's plan. But the truth is, the moment you put everything in God's hands, the weight is lifted. Jesus Himself said in Matthew 6:27, "Can any one of you by worrying add a single hour to your life?" The answer is no. Worry does not add to your life. It takes away from it. It steals your peace, your energy, and your ability to trust in God fully. But here's the good news. There is a better way. The moment you surrender your fears, God replaces them with His peace. The moment you release your doubts, He fills your heart with faith. Think of it this way. Imagine you are carrying a heavy backpack filled with rocks. Each rock represents a worry. Your finances, your relationships, your future, your past mistakes. With every step, the weight gets heavier, making it harder to move forward. But then, someone comes along and says, "Let me carry that for you." You hesitate because you've been carrying this weight for so long. But as soon as you let go, you feel lighter. You feel free. That is exactly what happens when you trust God. God is waiting for you to place everything in His hands. He is saying, "Let me carry this for you. You don't have to do this alone." Will you trust Him today? Will you finally allow Him to take over? If you continue to carry your worries, they will only drag you down. But if you place them in God's hands, you will rise up in peace, in strength, and in faith. The choice is yours. No matter what happens, no matter how uncertain life seems, God is still in control. Nothing surprises him. Nothing catches him off guard. From the very beginning, he has known every detail of your life. He has seen every challenge you would face, every storm you would go through, and he has already prepared a way out for you. Sometimes it feels like everything is falling apart. You pray, but nothing changes. You trust, but things still seem difficult. In these moments, doubt starts to creep in. You wonder, does God even hear me? Does he really have a plan for my life? But let me remind you of this powerful truth. Just because you don't see it yet doesn't mean God isn't working. In Isaiah 55:8-9, God says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." This means that God sees things differently than we do. We see the problems, but he sees the solution. We see the struggle, but he sees the breakthrough. God is like a master builder. Imagine watching someone build a house. At first, it looks like nothing but a mess. Bricks, wood, tools scattered everywhere. But the builder knows exactly what he is doing. He has a blueprint. He sees the finished masterpiece even when it looks like chaos. That's exactly how God works in your life. You may only see the mess right now, but God sees the finished masterpiece. He knows how everything will come together in the end. That is why you must trust him, even when you don't understand. Even when things feel uncertain, you must hold on to this truth. God is always in control. He is working behind the scenes, arranging things in your favor. Even when doors close, even when things don't go as planned, God is still moving. Every delay has a purpose. Every obstacle is part of his plan. You don't have to figure everything out. You don't have to have all the answers. You just need to trust. The moment you release control and say, "God, I put everything in your hands," is the moment things start to shift. God never fails. He has never lost a battle, and he is not about to start now. No matter what storm you are facing, he is in control. So today, let go of your need to control everything. Release your worries. Surrender your plans. God knows exactly what he is doing. He is already making a way for you. And when the time is right, you will see the masterpiece he has been creating in your life all along. One of the hardest things to do in life is to wait. We want answers now. We want solutions immediately. But God doesn't work on our schedule. His timing is perfect, even when it feels like he is taking too long. Have you ever prayed for something only to feel like your prayers are going unheard? Maybe you've been asking for a breakthrough in your finances, a healing in your body, or direction for your future. You do everything right. You pray, you trust, you believe, but nothing seems to change. It's in these moments that doubt starts to creep in. You wonder, is God even listening? Does he care about what I'm going through? But here's the truth. God's delays are not denials. Just because you don't see results right now doesn't mean God isn't working. He is preparing you. He is positioning you. He is making sure everything is aligned perfectly before he releases the blessing. If he gave it to you too soon, it might not be what's best for you. Think about a farmer planting seeds. He doesn't plant them and expect a harvest the next day. He waits. He trusts the process. He knows that with time, the seed will grow into something beautiful. That is exactly how God works in your life. You may not see progress right away, but that doesn't mean growth isn't happening beneath the surface. The Bible reminds us in Ecclesiastes 3:1, "To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven." God has a divine timeline, and when the time is right, what he promised you will come to pass. Until then, trust his process. Let go of impatience and embrace his perfect timing. If you are in a waiting season right now, don't lose hope. This is not a punishment. It's a preparation. God is building your faith, strengthening your character, and making sure that when the blessing comes, you will be ready to receive it. Stay faithful, keep trusting, and know that when God moves, it will be bigger and better than you ever imagined. Fear is one of the biggest tools the enemy uses to keep you from trusting God. It starts as a small thought, a what if that plays over and over in your mind. What if things don't work out? What if I fail? What if I never see a breakthrough? And before you know it, that fear begins to control you. But here's something powerful. Fear and faith cannot exist in the same space. You either choose to trust God or you allow fear to take over. The enemy knows this, which is why he constantly tries to fill your mind with doubt. He wants you to believe that your problems are too big, that your future is uncertain, and that God is distant. But those are all lies. God did not give you a spirit of fear. 2 Timothy 1:7 tells us, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind." If fear is not from God, then where does it come from? The enemy. And if it's from the enemy, you have the authority to reject it. The moment you put everything in God's hands, fear loses its power over you. When you realize that the Creator of the universe is in control, there is nothing to be afraid of. Your future is already secured in His hands. Every detail, every need, every desire, He has it all covered. Imagine a child learning to swim. At first, they are afraid of the water. They panic, thinking they will sink. But then, they see their father standing in the water, arms open, ready to catch them. The fear disappears because they know someone they trust is there to hold them up. That is exactly how God is with you. You don't have to carry fear anymore. God is with you. He is your protector, your provider, and your peace. Whenever fear tries to creep in, remind yourself, I am not alone. God is in control. The more you trust Him, the less fear has a hold on you. If you have been struggling with anxiety, this is your moment to let go. Release every worry, every fear, and every doubt into God's hands. He is faithful, and He will take care of you. You were not created to live in fear. You were created to live in faith. When life is uncertain, prayer is your greatest weapon. It is not just something you do out of habit. It is your direct connection to God. Prayer is where you exchange your worries for His peace. It is where you release control and allow God to step in. Many people only pray when they need something, but prayer is much more than that. It is not just about asking, it is about surrendering. It is about coming before God and saying, Lord, I trust you completely. I may not have all the answers, but I know that you do. Jesus Himself showed us the power of prayer. Before facing the cross, He prayed in the Garden of Gethsemane. He was in deep distress, yet instead of holding on to fear, He surrendered it. In prayer, saying, not my will, but yours be done. That is the kind of faith God calls us to have, the kind that says, even when I don't understand, I trust you. The Bible promises in Philippians 4:6-7, do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God,